Good morning, everyone. My name is Kimberlie Wright. Welcome to Word Up, the class about poetry, short stories, and spoken word. I hope everybody's feeling well and okay today. Thanks again for joining. Last week we were talking about finishing up our poems with a twist that have all to do with the poem that's written in a space of a shape. So even if you haven't finished those, continue to work on them if it was something that you were interested in. And also I gave about 3 poetry prompts that maybe if they inspired you, you wrote something about them, and we are going to share those as well today. If you have any writings, of course. However, I would like to say that let's come out of the spotlight. All right. So I have something very special for you all today. I just want to say something at the top of the class to get everything started. Once again, so you know, I've given you also keys and tips as to all the things that you can do with your poetry, but just continue to write and make sure you read your poetry aloud out to yourself so that it can flow really well and make sense, and you know, start trying to compile some writings. All right, today I have someone visiting us, very special. Hopefully this young brother will come back and maybe join our class or possibly even visit us again. So this person is a poet, and he knows it. He's from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm almost certain that he started writing about probably in the 70s, in the early 70s. And I met him not too long ago, which is really a blessing because it's always good to network with creative people and talented people. You don't know what type of avenues can take you, you know, from meeting others in the same fields that you are in, or and possibly, as long as, you know, it don't even have to be the same field. People can open you up to other worlds. So although y'all know my first love is art, you know, poetry is very dear to my heart as well. This brother is, to me, a lyrical genius. His work is really raw in the sense that it carries a bit of wit, where you have sense of humor, and his words are very bold and vivid, where you can actually see a story or see the actual imagery of what he's trying to portray. He's very talented, and I think he's current, and you can actually relate to his work. So without further ado, he's going to actually present a couple of his poems, and he also has a compiled piece of work that he's put together, a book called If Words Could Fly. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest speaker today. His name is Brother Lawrence A. Brown. Everybody please give him a hand, give him a hand. Woo. All right. So you ready, Brother Brown? Mr. Lawrence?
I believe so.
Okay, anytime you're ready.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to show you that this is my book, If Words Could Fly. That's the name of my book. And I completed it in 2015. So I've added some poems that are not in the book, So I would like to do the title. The title of the book is entitled If Words Could Fly. And I really appreciate Kimberly's introduction because she said that I try to write in a way where you can picture things. Well, if you can picture all of these things, you really have an imagination. If words could fly. If words could fly, where would they land? Perhaps in the ocean or in the desert sand. If they flew high enough and weren't too loud, maybe they'd land gently among the clouds. Or if they flew a great distance and came to a stop, they might land on the world's highest mountaintops. What if they just stayed in the air and never came down, far above the earth and nowhere to be found? They could land on the moon and never be heard, or settle down in the trees just like the birds. But if somehow they landed in our hearts and minds, we could nurture and cherish them for a lifetime. That's if words could fly. Now, I have another one, but I have to ask Kimberlie. I sent Kimberlie 2 of my poems, and I would be greatly honored if she would do one of them or both of them at this time too. Kimberlie, did you get a chance to look at them?
Yes, I chose, I did. I felt like I pretty much wanted to present one, and the one that I chose was, give me 1 second, sorry. I wanted to say Every Precious Moment. So you want me to present that now?
Yes, I would like for you to present mine.
Okay.
I like other people to recite my poetry as well as myself. I like other people to interpret my poetry. And Kimberlie did one when we met at Janice Wilborn's Fashion. Kimberlie did one of my poems.
Janice Wilborn, the sisters, they have a line of the long array of line of clothing. They've been doing clothing for years, but they have a boutique downtown, near Auburn Avenue.
And that's where I met Kimberlie, and it was a very enjoyable moment. And she did one of my poems from my book, and I was very pleased with it. So that's why if you want to do Every Precious Moment, I would be honored.
Okay, thank you so much. So I want to still remind you all that that's what I was saying. You want to read other people's poetry, recite some of your friends' poetry, and also read your poetry out aloud as well. So right now, I'm going to recite a poem written by a great poet, Brother Lawrence A. Brown. It is entitled Every Precious Moment. Actually, okay, keep going. Every precious moment. Though we live our lives in God we trust, no one really knows what's in store for us. No one knows what the future holds. No one knows how life will unfold. The very most we can do is remain positive, prayerful, and hopeful each day that we live. Going forward with faith and confidence that somehow, some way, life will make sense. There may be much that's out of our control, but we can always stay in touch with our soul. For it alone is the guardian of our well-being. It alone is prepared for whatever life brings. Every moment is an eternal now, with mysteries of who, what, why, and how. Every moment is an eternal here, passing in front of us before it disappears, destined to become a part of our lifelong fate, pressed upon our minds with time and date. It is up to us how we choose to live our lives, every precious moment that we are alive. by Lawrence Brown.
Very good. Thank you. That was very nice.
Thank you. So were you gonna do one more piece?
Yes, I have one more I would like to do. I thank you for, mentioning that some of my poems have wit and humor, and I do try to include that in some of them. Some of them I consider inspirational, motivational. Some of them deal with my Blackness. Some of them deal with love. So I have an array of different poems that I've written. But this one here, excuse me, this one is entitled Broad Shoulders. Broad shoulders. Sometimes we need shoulders. So this is dedicated to those people who have those broad shoulders. We need more broad shoulders that we can lean on. Shoulders from those who will help keep us strong. When we feel helpless, no matter how hard we try, we need someone we can go to and feel free to cry. Shoulders that understand and will help dry our tears. Shoulders that will do their best to relieve our fears. When we have those moments when we feel discouraged, we need broad shoulders that can give us courage. We need someone who will listen without placing blame. Someone we can go to without feeling ashamed. Shoulders we can depend on in our time of need. Shoulders with a sincere desire for us to succeed. We need broad shoulders to be there for us. Honest, reliable shoulders we can trust. They must be broad in order to carry a heavy burden, capable of giving us strength we know is certain. We are grateful for those that we can go to. They are the ones who comfort me and you. They are the ones who show us how much they care. You will recognize them by the fruit they bear, because the broad-shouldered are truly gifted, and God sends them to us when we need to be uplifted. And I would like to add that I think you're a broad shoulder, Kimberlie. I think you're a broad shoulder. I think that you, even after knowing you for a very short period of time, your spirit is so strong and so supportive of people. And just this program that you have today, I truly believe that you are one of the broad shoulders that I'm talking about in this poem, because this poem is special, because broad-shouldered people are rare. It's very rare that a person can feel like they can go to somebody in confidence that will listen to not just their words, but their heart, and who will really care. And that's why I wrote that poem, because I've met a few broad-shouldered people in life, but I know they're rare, and they're a gift from God. And I think you're one of those people, Kimberlie, and I thank you, for being that way. And the people and your guests that are clapping, they know what I'm talking about. Jean, Jacqueline, y'all know what I'm talking about. And you just continue to do your work, Kimberlie. And I know that more people would be on here if they can figure out this Zoom thing. So I think your audience is going to grow as more people become familiar with how to get on this Zoom and realize that we can stay connected through this Zoom during this time when we can't be together. So you're doing a great job, Kimberlie, and I appreciate you inviting me to be on your show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. Can you please give this young man a...
How much is your book?
The book, I had been selling the book for $12. And right now, I really don't have a way, I really don't have a place where I'm selling it. But if you know Kimberlie, if you know how to get in touch with Kimberlie, I can probably get you a book, because I'm still trying to figure out all this website stuff and all this Amazon stuff and all of this stuff. I turned 69 on my last birthday, so I'm trying to figure out all this stuff too. I would like to make it into an audio book.
Yeah, my son sells his on Amazon.
Oh, so he figured it out.
Yeah, he sells them on Amazon. Just go to Amazon.
He has a book of poetry?
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't have poetry. He does. He has a book. His name is Perry Red, And his book is on the condition of our freedom.
Oh, wow. That sounds really nice.
Yeah,
That's the
as
name
a
of it?
condition of our freedom.
Wow. His name is Perry Redd, R-E-D-D.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'm gonna check into that because I've been trying to figure out all this Amazon stuff, and I even would like to do an audio book. I would like to put all my poems in the form of an audio book too, because I think a lot of people would like to hear the poem as opposed to just reading it themselves.
They would, especially like my friend, she's blind, and she would love it, an audio book.
Okay, well, thank you, Miss Lattimore. That's giving me more inspiration to go to the next level. You know, right now I'm laid off from my job, so I have a lot of time, and it's a matter of figuring out, you know, what to do next. So,
but what I did is I sold some of my son's books for him. You get somebody, you get people to refer to, and to refer other people to the Amazon website.
oh, okay.
First step to Lawrence, you putting yourself out here in my class, so.
Oh.
Working for
Hey,
here.
yeah, this baby steps.
I think also, Mr. Lawrence.
And I would like to ask Ms. Jean Harris to unmute yourself. And do we have any more questions out there for Mr. Lawrence?
Kim, I just wanted to say to Mr. Lawrence, thank you so much. And also, you might want to check out YouTube. Everything is on YouTube about how to do anything. So as far as getting your book on Amazon, probably something on there to walk you through the steps on being able to do that.
Mr.
To get it on Amazon?
To get it on YouTube, if you put in and search on YouTube about how to get your stuff on Amazon, I bet you there's a link on there showing you the steps.
Wow. Okay. Well, again, thank you for the encouragement, because as you see, I got a whole book of these things. I got a whole book, and you know, putting this book together wasn't easy because I had to do all the editing and all the proofreading. And when you edit and proofread your own material, it's very easy to bypass your mistakes. Yeah. But I did want to say one thing about, I know that Kimberlie has been given, talking about the different types of poetry. So I don't know what, mine mostly rhymed, you know, 2 lines rhymed and the next two. But I didn't really get my inspiration from reading poetry. I got mine mostly from songs, like songs from the 60s and the 70s, where they would be singing these songs, and I noticed how they all rhyme. And I love listening to the lyrics of those great songs from that period. And so that's what inspired me to start, you know, telling stories in the form of rhyming. So I have poems that rhyme in certain ways. I have some that the whole poem has the same rhyme all the way from the beginning to the end. So I don't know what classification my poetry is in. I just like writing from what I feel and what I think. So that's the only way I can categorize my poetry.
So when I met Mr. Lawrence, he told me he did not prescribe to any type of style, because I was telling him I teach different types of poetry. But although he said he did notice that some of his styles fit in some of those particular categories, I wanted to say, Mr. Lawrence, Miss Tara Sparkman, that's my manager at my job.
Who?
Miss Terrell, who gave me advice about.
Oh, okay. I don't see her, but what? You said she wanted to say something?
No, the actual young lady that gave you the advice about, if you look on Amazon and different stuff, you'll actually probably find some links to get you.
Oh, YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So does anyone have any more questions for Mr. Lawrence?
I do, Kim.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Vicky.
Hi.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Lawrence, your work is beautiful as you are. I can see it comes from within you. I read a lot of books.
I see. Wow, look at that book selection.
I live with that, and your poetry really touched me deep inside my soul.
Oh, okay. And I have many more, you know, like the beginning of the book, what I did was If Words Could Fly is at the very beginning, but the beginning of the book, the way it reads is like the very beginning, I'm going all the way back to my upbringing, you know, coming up in Cleveland, in the projects. I came from a family of 14 children. So that was entitled The Welfare Scene. And then I have the next one after that. You know, in the Bible, it says that thy days may be long, honor thy mother and thy father. So I wrote a tribute to my parents. That's, you know, so the early part of my book is really dedicated to my upbringing, my friends, my neighborhood. You know, where a lot of people think, you know, if you come from the projects, you know, I came from the projects, but my parents raised us as if we were in rural Georgia, you know, with them old fashioned values. And I have this one. In fact, Kimberlie, do I have time to do one more, please?
Let's see. I think we got about 7 minutes, so.
Okay, well, let me do this one because this is a tribute to my parents, and it would be remiss of me to not give credit to the people who brought me into this world if I had an opportunity.
Okay,
but this is entitled That Thy Days May Be Long. In our home, he reigned supreme, husband, father, and undisputed king. She was a loving mother and a devoted spouse, a dedicated soul that took care of our house. He raised us with a firm and mighty hand. We were all aware that he was in command. She awakened us and sent us to school. She took us to church and taught us the golden rule. We did what he said and never questioned why. Very little got past him and seldom would we even try. She gave us spiritual strength, morals, and values. She taught us the life we lived was ours to choose. At all times, he demanded the utmost respect. His every word was law, no one dared to reject. She taught us how to be patient, loving, and kind. She showed us how we could have peace of mind. Together as one, they raised us well. They encouraged us to always strive to excel. They taught us to be grateful for what we had, that no matter what, things were never that bad. They instilled in us a tremendous sense of pride. They gave us their all until they died. Yet, even in death, they left a living legacy, a brightly shining love throughout our family. I write this poem to let the whole world know Cornelius and Lois Brown are my heroes. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. You know, of course, there are a lot of single parent homes, there are 2-parent homes, but you know, whether it's single parent or 2-parent, you know, if we get that love and respect that we give to our parents, I don't think that ever dies. You know, I think even in these times, that old fashioned upbringing that our parents gave us, that we give our children and our grandchildren, I think that lives on. I think that's eternal. And it goes back to our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, and hopefully we pass it down to our children and our grandchildren, those values, those good old-fashioned values that many people have lost touch with. But thank God there are people that still are in touch with those values. And I can tell by the, you know, the people in your audience are the type of people that are in touch with those values.
So thank you for that beautiful poem. I'm sure we can all relate to that in some form or fashion. I know I can. And I think we have about, you know, a few more minutes where I was really I would be really excited for some of my students to actually recite some pieces that they actually wrote, but we don't have a lot of time. So hopefully Mr. Lawrence can visit us again where, you know, you can see some people share some of their works. And I think for the last part of our piece, I'm gonna go ahead and recite the second poem that Mr. Lawrence selected for me, since this is our guest and he was gracious enough to share his time and his beautiful works with us. So without further ado, this particular piece is entitled Wondering waiting and wishing. Wondering, waiting, and wishing. Wondering if this pandemic is because of man's sins. Waiting for this crisis to come to an end. Wishing I could be with my family and friends. Wondering if life will ever be the same. Waiting for those in power to stop placing blame. Wishing I could go out and watch a basketball game. Wondering how many lives will this coronavirus take. Waiting for mercy and grace for heaven's sake. Wishing there was a cure that someone could make. Wondering what does it all mean. Waiting to see if this is all just a dream. Wishing things weren't as bad as they seem. Wondering what in the world we're supposed to do. Waiting for suffering to end for me and you. Wishing that all my wishes will soon come true.
That was nice.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence, so much. So I just want to know, did anybody get a chance to write anything from our prompts, our prompts? Did anybody get a chance to write anything? And if so, I wanted to actually write another. I wanted to go ahead and give you one more prompt just to inspire you. But I guess we have a couple of minutes if someone wants to share any piece.
I wrote one about, you said about grandma or something. I don't know. You gave it to me.
Wait, ain't no grandma or something. Hold it. Ain't no grandma or something.
Well, I wrote about
grandma's. You're supposed to write about grandmother's kitchen.
Okay.
However that inspired you, however you want to present it to us, feel free. I'm very blessed to hear your writing. So let's go ahead and.
My grandmother's name was Mud Deer, and this is about my grandmother's hands. My grandmother's hands picked me up when I fell down, hugged me tight, and hurled me around, wiggled a finger and taught me right, cautioned me often not to fight. My grandmother's hands were gentle and kind, even when she beat my naughty behind. They brushed off the dirt when I scant my knee, then banished the boo-boo to stop the hurt. They held me close within arms to assist, then pushed me back out to play, helped by a kiss.
Very nice. Wow.
That's really good, Miss Vicky. That's really good.
Thank you. It's not the kitchen, but her hands were always in the kitchen.
And on your behind.
Not any behind, my naughty behind.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have a piece they want to share? Don't be scared. Did you say something, Miss Jean?
Well, that's okay. Go on, Jacqueline. Miss Lattimore, so do yours.
Okay. Okay, you asked us to do one on shaky ground.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I was visiting my brother.
Wait, 1 second. Wait 1 second, Miss Jacqueline. I'm sorry. So sorry. Does your piece have a title, or it's not a title?
On shaky ground.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I was visiting my brother when a building shook, like a lady dancing as I looked in disbelief. People getting thrown off their feet, some running to and fro. One earthquake can cause 1 million deaths. That's all I could think about, so I lost my breath. In Washington, D.C., some structures are tall. Buildings collapse, and when foundations are weak, and they shake and vibrate. Tall buildings, 15 and 16 feet. Stories, 15 and 16 feet stories sway and break. The fault of an earthquake is like an Afro-American separating from America to move back to the motherland. The seismic waves propelling powerfully like male sperms with pushing energy, then rushing and penetrating the female ovum before it relaxes. That was the metaphors. I had to include the metaphors.
No, I actually, it was very like eloquent and poetic in a sense of you can still see a lot. Have you ever experienced the earthquake?
No, yeah.
Okay.
That was on my brother's balcony that day. I ran out onto the balcony. So it's a true, it happened.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like that to me. So thank you so much, Miss Jacqueline. Miss Jean, you have to unmute yourself, love. Jean,
Yes. In California, I moved to California in 1960, and we call it shake and bake. Because you shake and then it burns. Shake and bake.
Hold on, Miss Jean, 1 second. So
I'm trying, yeah, I need to get off of here. Okay.
everybody else would like to say, no problem. Thank you, Miss Jacqueline. So that's your shake poem?
No, I didn't write a shake poem. You told us to do a shake and then do acrostics. I'll do it next time. I did a leaf.
Wow, that's beautiful.
No, the shake poem, listen, Miss Jean, the shake poem is supposed to be like the way you drew that leaf.
Yeah.
Then your poem would be written, or it can be written around the leaf, in the leaf, but it's supposed to be in the shape of the leaf and talking about leaves.
I did that, but I did it in acrostic.
That's no problem. That's great.
Yeah.
You're writing the style of poem. So are you going to recite that?
Do you want me to do it?
Go for it.
Okay. You can look at this while I read because you can't see it all.
You don't have to
Okay.
show it to us if you don't want, but if you need to see it, it's up to you.
I want you to see it. Because
Okay,
every leaf, we've got so many leaves, they're all the same, but they're different.
Yes, ma'am.
So I did what the leaf says and the types of leaves. So olive, birch, radish, lemon, greens, kale, squash, turnip, juniper, quince, collards, zinnia, herb, moist, unique, date, kale, weeds, vines, peach, juniper, and aspen.
Okay.
That was good.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful drawing.
A couple of those leaves. I want to say to everybody, we only have a couple of more seconds or minutes, but however, you can see in the chat that I have given you another prompt to possibly write about if you are interested. These are not necessarily class lessons because we are still working on our shape poems or the poems with a twist. So right now, that's another prompt if you would like to write about that. It's called radio. Tune into a radio station you don't normally listen to and write a poem inspired by the first song or message that you hear. That's one. And I was gonna give you one more. And that will be it for today. Does while I'm typing in that chat, if you have anything to say, feel free. Anybody has anything to say, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna give you so the next prompt is called anticipation. The title of it is anticipation. You can write about, and don't forget, even the titles of these pieces, you still want to the titles of these pieces, you still want to stick to the particular tone or title of the piece, but however, you can still name your piece something else if you like. So anticipation, I want you to write about the feelings you experience or things you notice while waiting for something.
Anticipation.
And so I just put that in the chat. Anticipation, write about the feelings you experience or things you notice while waiting for something. And the last thing I want to leave with you and share with you, has anyone ever heard of nom de plume?
Say it again.
Plume. I'm gonna write that in the chat so you'll know exactly what I'm saying. Nom de plume. Nom de plume. Okay, nom de plume simply is a synonym or another way of saying kind of like an alias, an AKA, or sometimes in the literary world, or the writing world, we say pen name, P-E-N name. That does not necessarily imply that you have to have a pen name. However, I just wanted you all to sort of probably think about the option of, if you wanted to present yourselves as yourself, Lawrence A. Brown, which is a great thing to be yourself. It's only one unique person like you in the world. Or when you are writing your pieces, do you want to put an alias down, your tag, your stage name? You know, your name might be Ink Pen. I don't know. It might. So I don't know. Your name might be Paperhead. I don't know. So you might have a nickname that you've been carrying from since you was a child. For whatever reason, it might be dear to you to use these type of names, but that's an option that you can use as an artist. This is an artistry, a craft, being able to write down experiences and feelings and creativity from within yourself to share with others. So if you want to think of a nom de plume or a pen name for yourself, feel free. It's really good to have that when you are actually doing spoken word, you know, on stage. And just like everybody has shared spoken word today, and we have our brother Lawrence here doing spoken word. So I want to thank you again, Mr. Brown, Lawrence.
Thank you for having me.
Coming to my class today, and hopefully you'll join again. I want you all to have a wonderful and blessed day. Thanks again for joining with the class. Word Up, the class all about poetry.
Word up.
And spoken word. Y'all have a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you.
Love you, Kim. Love you,
Thank
Lauren.
you. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown.